All right, guys, welcome to episode 5 of Fairgame. It is the Monday after the Masters. With me, Eric Mayville.
Hello.
And Mr. Adam Scott reporting to us live, not from Augusta, but from Sweden.
Yeah, g'day. Just a quick trip out of Augusta. I finished early, so I got here quickly.
You were happy to get out of that place?
Well, never really happy to leave, but certainly wasn't my week on the course. And you know, when it goes like that, you're kind of ready to pack your bags and forget about it. And you know, think I'm looking forward to the next 3 weeks to kind of decompress and regather myself and get back out on the PGA Tour soon.
Got it. And so, you know, we'll talk about a few things in this episode. Certainly Hideki's historic win. I know you're a big fan of Japanese culture in general, and also the way that the Japanese kind of have embraced golf. You're a Uniqlo ambassador, so I know you spent a lot of time there actually playing golf as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been going to Japan for 20 years and thrilled for Hideki, first of all. It's hard to get to know Hideki well, but I've certainly played a lot of golf with him. I've played on President's Cup teams with him as a partner, been on the last 5 teams or so with him, and you know, have spent some time around him, and he's an incredibly hard worker. You know, he's got that obsessive nature, and he just keeps working and working and working, and no surprise, it's paid off big time this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an amazing story, you know. As a casual fan, he's kind of always around, and then doing some research, you come to find out, you know, he had 4 top 5 finishes within 2 years at majors, and you know, he is really consistently in the top 5 in majors, and of course, he was the low amateur 10 years ago exactly at Augusta.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I mean, some of the neat stuff that Augusta National Golf Club does that we see, like with drive, chip, and putt now, the Augusta Women's Amateur Tournament, and then there's the Asia Pacific Amateur and the Latino America Amateur, which now Hideki qualified for Augusta 10 years ago as an amateur for winning the Asia Pacific Amateur. And these kind of initiatives by the club are huge because that's given these people on the other side of the world a chance to qualify as an amateur for the Masters, and amateur golf is a huge part of the Masters because of Bobby Jones. But he's now the first guy to win the kind of amateur event set up by the Augusta National Club to win the Masters. I think it's, you know, a pretty cool story, and you know, no doubt one day there's going to be a drive, chip, and putt kid win the Masters. Or the women's amateur there, and there are going to be so many great stories to keep going. So, you know, the club is doing a wonderful job in, you know, really piquing interest and keeping great storylines going in the game of golf.
After watching this last drive, chip, and putt, I've got some new swings I want to emulate. Turns out they're 30 years younger than me. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that you just need the 30-year younger body. That's that's what's
exactly.
needed. You know.
And so, were you watching the last few holes of the Masters there? You saw Xander kind of make a run there, and then have a tough go of it. And I mean, it was pretty close there for a while. I mean, it was kind of up in the air in those last few holes.
Right. So I kind of I left. We were on the runway taking off, and Hideki had just flown the green on 15, and that's the last bit of news I got. And I couldn't believe it. So I'm going to lean on you guys a little bit to talk me through the next couple of holes. I mean, I know what happened because I actually called midair, like about an hour and a half later. I'm like, it must be over by now. So I need to know, you know, I got to go to sleep or something on this flight, and I won't if I don't know what happened. But so I don't know the feelings that everyone was going through. But when Hideki hit it in the water, I felt like this is a major problem, and it got very interesting, obviously.
Yep. I got a lot of text the second that thing went in the water. But I think that his resolve, he just stayed so calm looking and
right.
ready to just continue doing what he had to do. And he played very straightforward golf, I feel like, after that, where the adrenaline must have been pumping. I can only imagine, seeing that's the only trophy I've ever gotten from golf, and it's from a public track. But yeah,
I like how you've got that displayed today.
I wanted to make sure that we could see it.
Yeah, beautiful. But that's the thing with Hideki. I said after I finished my round and I got a couple questions, of course, all hypotheticals. What if this guy wins? What if, I had to list all the positive attributes all the other players had in case they won. But, Hideki can really put the blinkers on, I feel like. He's out there kind of operating in his own little bubble. The language barrier, he probably knows a lot more English than he lets on, but the language barrier lets him kind of get in his own bubble and no one really gets in there too much. So I feel like he kind of plays with the blinkers, and it looked like that for most of the final round when I was playing, and that's a good thing. That could have been the panic button right there on 15 if he couldn't keep it together. So
Yeah.
That was to his advantage for sure, and I'm glad he kept it together, because at that point I was pulling for him pretty hard.
Yeah, and it felt to me like the narrative as I was sitting, actually sitting on an airplane watching it, was Xander. I mean, he was just striping the ball. I mean, really couldn't miss for 5 or 6 holes there on the back, and then one bad swing, and he gets a triple, and then there goes that, and it really kind of shows you how kind of brutal and unfair golf can be. I mean, I hadn't seen a guy play like that at the Masters this entire weekend, and then one bad swing and it's over for him. I mean, he ended up finishing very high, obviously, I think 3 back, but that is not a win for sure, and I'm sure that has to be gutting for him.
Yeah, he feels like he probably finished like I did now, considering how close he was, and that is right. You're right. Golf, it's so brutal, especially at the major level. And Xander is such a dangerous guy at he's so consistently good, and he's already racked up an incredible career in the last 4 years since he's been on tour. So he's going to learn a lot from this one, and wouldn't surprise me if his kind of bounce back is this year and he jags a major before the year's out. If he can be a little inspired and motivated to get back in that position and not hit that one bad shot, then look out for the rest of the guys out there. But it's so tough to get it all right with it all on the line. I mean, you need to be solid, but you need a little bit of luck go your way. And I think a couple of things. I saw Hideki had a little bit of that winner's luck yesterday too.
Yeah, and I think, a big part of this show is not necessarily hearing what myself and Eric have to say about this, because what the hell do we know? But you have, somebody who's been there and has done it. I mean, how are you feeling after what must have been, a frustrating weekend for you?
Oh, yeah. I'm incredibly disappointed, because a lot goes into getting ready for it. Weeks and a few months of thought and, planning and preparation and trying to play your way into good form. And I thought I was right there. And I got off to a slow start Thursday. I can sum my week up really quickly for you. It was a slow start Thursday, and I hung in there. And there are always moments where it can turn around. And if I look back, I had about a 5-foot birdie putt on the 12th, Friday, to go back to even par or 1 under par for the day. And things were starting to pick up. And then I missed the putt, obviously. And then I didn't birdie the 13th hole, and I didn't birdie the 15th hole coming in. And I struggled in and made the cut on the number, which doesn't mean you're out of it. A hell of a weekend, which can happen, can put you back in it. But it was a battle. I went out Saturday. I didn't do anything right at all, and made a couple big numbers early and struggled to get it in the house. And the way my week was going, I hit it over the 15th green in 2, put my club down behind the ball to chip it, and the ball moved and took a penalty, then chipped it in the water. Yep.
Yeah, golf sucks.
Yeah, golf's hard, man, and it is a bitch, I tell you. So I had nothing going, and I was just trying to not embarrass myself by the end of Sunday, to be honest, and I somehow pulled it together and shot a half decent score on Sunday. But pretty much the wind was out of my sails in that Saturday round, and that's the way it is. I'll have to take a few weeks off and kind of bounce back strong. And after watching guys like Hideki and actually watching Will Zalatoris play, I mean, I think he was a huge story and something big coming. a big career. You know, he's burst onto the scene last year, and I think really legitimized himself this weekend. I mean, there's no joke at all. No flukes last year. Just he can really play and get it done at the big moment. So those kind of things are inspiring for me. Looking at these young kids who play. He played like you just want to play. You know, super free and just gung ho, going for it. Nothing to lose at all. And it's a nice thing for me to see that.
And Will did this at the ripe age of 24, I believe.
Yeah, I know. He's got it all in front of him now. You know, it's easy to say he's going to do great in this, and golf is a long career, and you're going to have your ups and downs. And you know, he needs to ride this wave for as long as he can of this good play and confidence, and he's been doing it for about a year or so now. So he's doing a nice job of that. And then when he has his first little dip in form, because when you're finishing second at the Masters at 24, you've really never played any bad golf. You know, like your bad golf is so good relative. So, you know, when that dip in form comes, it'll be interesting, but he needs to ride this wave. And you know, the other one I think of over this weekend that's fun for the golf world is Jordan Spieth kind of winning, going in, which we talked about on an earlier pod, and then he's up there contending again. He was just so close, and he knew it. And, you know, he lets everyone know about it. He commentates his own round out there, and you know, he's back in it. You know, he's feeling it, and exactly what Will's doing, I think Jordan does really well. He rides that wave of confidence, and he's been doing it this year. So it's good. It's good to see that. Fun to have him back playing well, and I'd like to put myself back in that conversation the next time I play.
Do you think riding the wave is important? Like, obviously different for a lot of golfers, but like if you're playing really well, do you keep playing competitive, or do you take some time off, like, and try to tweak things even more?
I think when you will keep playing, you're young.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it you know, he's hasn't played too much golf yet. He's not going to burn out. He should just play when he feels like playing, and that could be every week, and I wouldn't question that. That could be, you know, play a couple, have a couple off, you know, enjoy being young and successful on the PGA Tour, nearly winning the Masters, you know, just keep doing whatever you're doing. And you know, I think for myself, it's a good time to kind of decompress a little bit and come back fresh. You know, us old folk, you know, we get a bit stale.
And so we have the PGA Championship coming up in the end of May. Will you play in a tournament before then, or will you really only focus on the majors this year?
No, I think I got to play again before that. I mean, the PGA, I think, is 5 weeks away before PGA week. So that's a pretty long break. And going to Kia, which you know pretty well, Ben, now. I know you've
something
been
like that.
there. I think you want to have some idea where the ball's going around there. Otherwise, you're going to have a long week at Kiowa. I hear it's 8,200 yards or something crazy like that. But I think I got to tune up a little bit. So I'm looking at coming back to play Quail Hollow, which is 2 weeks before the PGA. Then see where I stand after that as to whether I need to play again. Yeah. But look, there was a lot of disappointment last week, but the positives for me was I actually drove the ball a bit better, believe it or not, even though my scoring was a bit average. My iron play was a bit weak last week, but I drove, or my wedge play actually was pretty weak, which isn't good around there, but I drove the ball better, and that's something that I was focusing on. We talked about that too, and I did drive it better, especially Sunday. I felt really good, and it felt like, I wouldn't mind playing another tournament right now to keep this improving, but that's not on the cards for me at the moment, so I'm just going to have to do it at home until I get back to Quail Hollow.
I had a question. So I was watching the featured group coverage Sunday, which we were in, and on 2, everybody seemed to take a 3-wood off, and everybody was baffled why you, Phil, were taking 3-woods off of 2. And they couldn't figure out what was in what you saw. Is there something that was?
Yeah, why we all hit 3-woods on the 3rd round?
Yeah,
I think it was. Let me think. It was the wind was in off the left,
okay.
And this this means you have to like work the driver toward the left, and no one really wants to hit it down in the left creek. There's a creek down there if you hit it bad enough, and I think everyone knows they can kind of hit 3-wood and it'll never get down that far, even if you did hook it. And if you don't hit a perfect shot, it kind of sits short of the bunker through the fairway on the right. And
I just love that you guys could all see it and nobody on the announcing crew could.
right,
It was pretty interesting.
I mean, the fairways look wide when you're standing not on the tee box and hitting the shots, but they get much more narrow when it's the Masters. And just like we saw Xander, and I know it wasn't the second hole, but I made a triple on 15, Xander made a triple on 16. You're one bad shot from a triple bogey, and at the wrong time it ruins. At any time it ruins your week. Really, and certainly want to try and keep them off the card. And if it means I might not make eagle today at the second hole, but you're still giving yourself a shot at birdie. I mean, birdies are a good score at a major championship. You can't be too greedy.
So, with Kiowa coming up for the PGA Championship in about 5 weeks, I mean, how do things look for you in terms of the tune-up? So you actually ended up playing a different set of irons than we talked about in the last episode, which is kind of a big change for you. Will you stick with those irons, or do you kind of curse those irons for giving you some fits this week?
No, the irons weren't too bad. It was more my wedges actually, which is interesting because they were looking really solid. The irons were good. I may tinker with them a little bit. I mean, they were right on point for me. There was some nice offset bent in them, and they were looking good and felt really solid, which is obviously what you're looking for. So, I'd love to blame everything else but me for last week, but that's not the case. I think things are in a pretty good place as far as all the equipment goes. I'll probably just spend a week and give myself some rest. It's been a big build up. I've been on the road 5 weeks. I was on the road 5 weeks before that as well, with only a week off really in between. So, I need to give myself a couple of weeks and really, get away from it so I do come back fresh. That's the important thing. You want to get straight back to work and build off where you've got, but sometimes you've just got to be able to sit away and know that in the long run you're going to be better off. Because a little bit, I heard Jordan talk about it after his round yesterday. He's been playing really good, but he felt there was a little bit of maybe he was tired or burnout. It's been a long stretch of good golf for him, and it takes it out of you. So you've really got to get that balance right. So I'd love to get practicing straight away, but I need to give myself a little time.
Yeah, and I mean, you've played now in approaching 20 Masters, if not 20. How did this one kind of stack up in terms of conditions? I mean, it looked fast out there. It looked very, very fast out there. What was it as tough as you've played it?
Surgery was, for sure. I mean, overall, I think the condition was probably the best condition the golf course has ever been in. The green surrounds, the firmness of the golf course, the coverage of the grass. It was fantastic. And then Thursday, they pushed it to the limit with the firmness and the speed of the greens. I mean, it was on edge. And you saw that from the scores, all except for Justin Rose, who just got out of his mind for those last 11 holes, which was awesome. But and then there was a little rain and the course softened. And I think actually on Sunday it played perfect. I think it was the perfect balance between speed and firmness, and the good shots looked really good, and they did all the Augusta things, rolling back towards the hole, and the bad shots skipped through and got in a terrible spot where you could hardly chip it close and all that kind of stuff. So I think they really had it dialed up just right this year, and that was fun to see. I spoke with Jose Maria Lathabal quickly after Sunday's round, and he said it really reminded him this week of the 1990s when Augusta was playing much firmer and the ball was running a little bit on the fairways, running a lot more on the greens. And the last at least 10, maybe 20 years, we've seen less of that because they've been concerned about the length of the golf course and they want it slower so it plays longer. But it seems like this year they moved away from that a little bit. I think that was fun. I think it was fun, maybe to watch as well.
It was great to watch. It was. I was going to ask about the atmosphere on scene, because watching on TV, watching all the shots it was like, before all this mess. It was just comforting almost to really watch it.
Yeah, it was getting back there. I mean, we came from November. There was a couple of members walking around basically, and I think there must have been about 15,000 on the grounds. Now it's a big property, so 15,000 for golf. I think they have like 55,000 normally, so it wasn't anywhere near capacity. But it was nice to get a clap for a good shot, absolutely, and that felt good. But we're getting back there. It certainly feels like that on the PGA Tour. We've had fans or patrons at Augusta, and the last few weeks now. So it feels like we're getting back there. It'll be so nice when this, there were still no stands at the Masters. So when we get back to that point, it'll feel really good, and the atmosphere will be back. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play golf in that environment again.
Yeah. So it feels like, as you said, kind of the norm is coming back, but obviously something or someone that was missing this week was Tiger, obviously. So, I mean, amongst the tour players, was he, or is he always kind of a topic of conversation? What's kind of the word from him recently?
Yeah, certainly at the Masters. I mean, he's kind of Masters law with Jack Nicklaus. Jack's won 6 and Tiger's won 5. They're the greatest champions there ever. He wasn't there at the Champions Dinner, obviously, which means he must, he's fairly seriously injured. When he was recovering from back surgeries a few years ago, he still made the effort to come up and be part of that, and shows you how much it means to him. And he sent a message to the MC of the evening, Ben Crenshaw, just to say how much it means to him, and that he misses being there, misses everyone, being a part of that Masters club, and wished everyone good luck. And so I think it really shows how much the Masters has meant to Tiger, being his first major win in kind of record fashion all those years ago, to winning in 2019 in incredible circumstances, really. So he was certainly a point of discussion that evening. I think everyone is just kind of dealing with he's not going to be around this year, that's for sure. And we're all really bummed about it. I mean, that's the general sentiment. It's just golf's better when he's around. I think the interesting thing going forward will be, one day, Phil and Tiger, they're not going to be around. We're going to have to. We've got lots of other great players. I think there are going to be other great storylines, and there are a couple guys like Rory and Brooks and Jordan who have racked up multiple majors already. Do they take the next step and go to that kind of 8 majors where you're kind of really in legendary status? Then you're like up there with Gary Players and Arnold Palmers and Tom Watsons, and we haven't seen anyone except Tiger really take it there since a couple generations ago. So there'll be some good stuff to watch. And now Hideki is probably like the new Tiger of Japan, at least.
He probably is, right? I mean, they were saying that there's a good chance that he could be lighting the Olympic torch this year, potentially wearing the green jacket, which would be that'd be a vibe for sure. Yeah, I mean, he is certainly a national hero over there.
He was already. I mean, really, he was already. So I can only imagine, because Japanese fans are fanatical. They really are, and they're more enthusiastic than any place I've ever played golf. So I can only imagine what he's going back to. I believe he's heading back to Japan. So it could be like ticker tape parade.
I look forward to seeing the green jacket all over Japan. It's going to be so good. His victory tour, but
No, it'll be incredible for him. I'm really so happy for him. I mean, he's worked so hard the last 10 years or so. All he does is work, play golf, practice golf. Since I've seen him out there, and I certainly was a super proud feeling for me to take the green jacket back to Australia as the first Aussie to win the Masters, and I'm sure he's going to get exactly the same kind of reception. It's like this mythical thing that exists, but you never see it. So certainly when it goes overseas, it's Japan or Australia, it's so far removed from Augusta, Georgia, that here's this green jacket. The response whenever I had it was amazing from people.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's been a few Instagram posts of Hideki allegedly at the Atlanta airport, kind of hanging out by himself with the green jacket, just kind of thrown over the chair on his way back to Chicago, presumably then to Tokyo. So the questions that I've seen on Instagram is, how does he have a jacket already? I mean, is this his jacket? Has it already been tailored for him? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, it tailored to the point of probably a 42 regular or whatever Hideki's size is. They've left them pretty wide fitting because they've seen most of the past champions kind of get a little bigger in size as they get older, and otherwise you got to get refit for a new jacket. I think a few guys have gone through a couple different sizes over the years.
Happens to the best of us,
Yeah, but no, it's his jacket, and I would think they've even. I know in the pocket inside it's got your name stitched in there, and I would think it's already stitched in. They've had a little bit of time. They're pretty prompt on these things. They're organized there at Augusta National. Yeah.
They have one job, right? Like give out the green jacket.
That's right. So that's clearly his for the next 12 months, and I know it didn't leave my side for 12 months.
Yeah. What was really neat about this photo is you see Hideki kind of hunched over in a hoodie and a flat brim cap, not dissimilar to Eric's there, and he's got a Supreme bag right next to the green jacket. And I was like, this is golf. This is exactly what golf is, even though people nobody really talks about it. And this is exactly what golf should be. I mean, Hideki's a young guy. He's in his late 20s. He loves Supreme, apparently. Never would have guessed that based on seeing him on TV. But it was kind of amazing to see the Supreme backpack or bag right next to the green jacket, just hanging out in the Atlanta airport.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, but, I think Hideki is really a real guy, and it's hard for us all to get to know him. He doesn't speak a lot of English, and we just see him play professional golf. But he is. I think he was playing video games in the rain delay on Saturday for an hour. He is just a real guy, and it's those kind of things that get me excited. We got to bridge this gap of what golf is seen as and what golf really is, like you just said, because it is a real thing with real people, even the superstars. Whether it's street culture, whether it's whatever it is, there's an image out there of professional golfers on television, and I don't know that it marries exactly with who they are as real people. And I think the tour tries to do a good job of that and tell those stories, but seeing that is a really cool thing. A green jacket and a Supreme bag. It's great.
It's just not what I would have expected, because again, I mean, even with yourself and other kind of professional athletes that I know or have met, they are so, and you are all so, I wouldn't say media trained, but I mean so kind of polished, and in a great way, I mean in a professional way, but also you kind of lose some of the authenticity of what makes people. And in my other podcast on Hideki Radio, we just did an episode with Tom Brady that'll come out next week, and Brady is like, people talk about me every day, but they talk about me as the football player. Like, meanwhile, I'm just sitting at home on my couch watching Talking Watches videos and like just hanging out and like with my kids. Like, that's who I really am, and that's what really matters. But nobody on ESPN or any of that cares about that at all. They just care about me, the Super Bowl champion. And I think sports in general don't necessarily do a good job of kind of like extrapolating the personalities from the performances. And it's difficult, certainly. But I mean, what do you think golf or sports in general could do to make that a little bit more open or kind of progressive, I should say?
Well, in some ways, it has to be authentic. I mean, we've got to make an effort. There's been a great buzz about the game of golf off the back of this coronavirus, which maybe was unexpected. I don't think the golf industry was planning on it. So I think there needs to, they should try and capitalize on this a little bit from the point of making sure these people who went out to a driving range or went out to a golf course come back again, and just keep enjoying the game of golf. And I'd really like to see like the foundation set for people just to be able to keep enjoying the game really easily, even if things do go back to normal. Because the old excuse, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't want to wear a tie and a blazer in a clubhouse, they're too easy. We got to take those easy excuses away and make sure people get back out there.
Yeah. So I think, something that you are known for, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, I think it was 2019, you wore pleated pants at the Masters. You're a fashionable guy, if I may say. And there's a lot of guys that are now wearing, Air Jordans on tour. Hoodies were a big thing, not so long ago. Can you wear a hoodie on a golf course? Nike makes a great golf hoodie that I actually wear all the time. What do you think of all these guys trying to change the look of golf through fashion? I see the Melbourne hat over here. There's I think Macklemore does Bogey Boys. There's a few other kind of brands out there that are making it a little bit more kind of streetwear. Do you think this is interesting? Do you think it's good for the game of golf? Do you think we're going to see people wearing that stuff on tour soon?
I'd say yes. I think so. I think, it's something I've been conscious of my whole career, actually. Early on, I was introduced to fashion, I guess, through golf, but, moving out of Australia, limited knowledge of fashion, I guess, 20, 30 years ago, and moving to Europe, very fashion conscious, especially London, where I stayed a lot. And, for 7 or 8 years, I wore Burberry. Now, Burberry was nothing really to do with golf, but they did a golf line for these years. And I was interested because it kind of crossed, two different things. Now, it is a very high-end label, but it kind of took fashion more into golf. And this is at a time when we were coming out of the 90s, which was just big white polo shirts, triple XL, and baggy chino pants. I mean, it was a bad era, the 90s, for golf fashion, probably. And there are a few other guys. Jesper Parnevik certainly pushed the envelope with some pretty outrageous outfits. Ian Poulter also I'd put in that category. But you need those characters. And I was always trying to think of how I can bridge that gap and not be wearing golf clothes, let's say, and it be more of that kind of street feel where it's not your golf clothes. It's not another thing that you have to buy for the game of golf. It's just kind of you can wear it anywhere. And I've ended up with Uniqlo, which is basically their philosophy of lifewear. They feel like all their garments have multiple uses, and they don't pigeonhole it into a polo shirt or a golf shirt or the trousers that I've developed with them. Some people travel in them, some people wear them in the office. I wear them to play golf. You can do it all in them. So I think that's good. And I think with the young guys coming out now, I think these new brands, like you've mentioned, are going to be really appealing to them. Of course, wearing Jordans it's an iconic brand, and guys like sneakers and want to wear Jordans on the golf course. And I think when guys see a cool hoodie from somewhere else, they'll want to wear that, and they're gonna make it happen if they want to do it, and they're gonna be able to express their own kind of style in that way, rather than just your traditional slacks and polo shirt.
Yeah, it almost feels like really, us kind of the average guys are relying on you guys to make this stuff happen. Because if Eric or I showed up in a hoodie at any number of these prestigious courses, they would say, Mr. Mayville, please get your ass out of here right now. But if Adam Scott or Rory or anybody showed up at these places wearing a hoodie, they would probably embrace it. I mean, do you guys in some ways, kind of view yourselves as the leading edge of progress in the game of golf when it comes to these hyper exclusive country clubs? I mean, Augusta aside, that's so elite, it's like not even kind of worth discussing in this context. But let's just say your average prestigious private golf course in any major city around the world. Do these clubs kind of look to you, or do you have any influence over them when you're there to say like, hey, maybe hoodies are okay, or instead of wearing traditional FootJoys, you might be wearing Air Maxes or Air Jordans or something like that?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt the PGA Tour and its players are a huge influence on the game of golf, and I think we should be more aware of that. I mean, we should use that a little bit to push things in the right direction, and that doesn't mean take away all the things the game has done so well over the years. I mean, I think the foundations and roots of the game itself are really solid and valuable for people to have in their life. What clothes you wear is, needs to be relaxed. The whole world has gone certainly more casual, and there's a place for a club where you have to wear a coat and tie in the clubhouse at 5, and that's not going to be for everyone. There's a place for that, but there's also a place where you can play in denim. And that may not be for everyone either. That may not be what they want. But I think you've got to have some kind of nice middle ground where the hoodie's fine. We've seen all the guys wearing hoodies or Jordans on the course, or more like sneaker golf shoes. There are Air Max out there. And I feel like, well, this is what the best players in the world are doing. I think they're not looking not presentable doing it. Certainly the PGA Tour wouldn't allow it if it wasn't presentable. It's just a changing thing, and as long as clubs like to have rules, because that's just what clubs are. But I think there's got to be just a little relaxed nature about some of this golf stuff going forward. I think it'd do the whole game a world of good if we all just loosened up a little bit. And who cares about having 8,000 yard courses, and who cares? I think golf's all good, and all we bang on about is everything that's wrong about it. So I think we should just relax a little bit.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? And I think, I belong to a small country club in upstate New York called Wacabuck, and I invited some friends over that were in the area to play golf, and they had never played before. And I said, hey, come on by, just so you know, you can't wear jeans. And they thought I was kidding. Like, truly thought I was kidding. And so they showed up in jeans, and I was like, no, you really can't wear jeans. And the gentleman is a designer for Instagram, and drives, like, he's just a cool, like, downtown New York, like, kind of design guy. And he's just like, and certainly well traveled and come, been around the world a dozen times. And he's just like, what do you mean I can't wear jeans? Why can't I wear jeans? And I was like, well, it's I didn't even know how to respond to that, because it is nothing more than tradition. And to be clear, I'm not saying that my country club or any country club should abolish the anti-denim rule tomorrow, but it really is something that golf is so insular at times, and so kind of just strange to people that don't kind of come from this world. And again, this is one of my better friends, and he just couldn't fathom that I was not joking about the whole no jeans thing at my country club.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I see a lot of guys on tour wearing like jeans cut trousers. You see them fishing for the marker or tees, going in like jean style now. And now they're not blue jeans, traditional denim pants, but at least the jeans cut is out there. And look, jeans have come a long way too. I don't know. I'm in Sweden right now, and I've played a ton of golf over here, and almost everywhere you could play in denim here. There basically is no dress code to play golf in Sweden, which is one of the things I like about what they've got going on over here. They have some other things that make it harder to play, but pretty much they're just happy for you to get out and play and enjoy it, which is a nice feeling. And I think, for your friend who's never really been there before, he's now started off with a bit of a feeling of, this is so weird. I thought golf was weird probably anyway, and now this is really weird.
Yeah, no, and it is weird.
Yeah, let's try and get away from that. And you know, there's a place where, okay, they got rules, you can't wear denim, but there are other places surely that we should be able to just get out there and play.
Yeah, no, I agree. But a question I've been actually meaning to ask you: who do you think is the most stylish guy on tour besides yourself, obviously?
That is a good question.
Like, who just looks cool out there playing?
Well, I mean, look, when you think of cool on the golf course, it's Fred Couples. And, you know, he's just got that relaxed look. I mean, he plays in no socks. He doesn't wear socks, I don't think. You can check his ankles out next time he plays to see if I'm right. But, you know, but you can imagine him. He just pulls up in his car. He goes to the trunk and puts his golf shoes on without socks. He just slides out of flip-flops into a pair of golf shoes with no socks and goes and plays. You know, that's kind of Fred. You know, who is really fashionable out there? I don't know. I think a lot of guys have their own sense of style out there. I don't know that it all appeals to me, but you know, Poulter has certainly pushed the envelope over the years. You know, and he's very fashionable. It doesn't mean it's always tasteful, but it's Ian Poulter, and I like that. I like the guys expressing themselves out there a little bit. A lot of the guys I see, there's like Eric Van Ruin. You know, they're still trying to do the joggers thing. I don't know if that still should be going on. That was a couple years ago. We might need to move on from that now. But some of the guys that are wearing non-sports brands, I think, are looking good out there. You know, the sporty athletic thing, I don't know if it's because I'm hit 40 and it's harder for me to fit that category, but you know, I like the guys, you know, kind of, I like a bit of contrast anyway between, you know, a bit of technical stuff, a bit of, you know, cotton, a bit of technical stuff. I like some contrast in the clothing, and well, at least I get that for myself in what I wear.
Yeah, actually, I want to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine named Todd Snyder, who's a designer, fashion designer, who actually released a collaboration with FootJoy earlier this week, which you actually, I think, are aware of. I ordered some of it. And it's this idea of what, you know, kind of players would be wearing in the 60s if they were around today. So kind of like vests and, you know, kind of some really cool takes on FootJoy, kind of classic shoes. And it's really neat to see guys like this, which, you know, again, the Malvins of the world and some of these other companies are really like, they're like streetwear focused, and if I may say. And Todd Snyder is a little bit more, I don't want to use the word elegant, but I mean, it's a little bit more kind of traditional, kind of up the middle, like Ralph Lauren style of clothing. So it's neat to see FootJoy, a really traditional company, work with a brand like that.
Well, yeah, I saw a bit of the collection, and actually I have a pair of the golf shoes, the FootJoy golf shoes, which I can wear, which I hope to wear the next time I play. I didn't get them just in time for this week, but he did a really nice job with that. And I think that's a neat thing that FootJoy's done, this kind of collaboration, you know, to get him outside that little pigeonhole of the golf world and Melbourne or whoever it is with that streetwear. You know, I think it's really hard if you're just a golf clothing company. You're pretty limited. So, you know, I hope those guys, you know, if we kind of can cross that, bridge that gap of between clothing and taking away golf clothing. You know, you don't have to put your golf clothes on to go to play a game of golf. You know, hopefully there's, you know, they can be used for more than just playing golf.
Yeah, just put on your clothes instead.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, Adam, we actually have an announcement that we'd like to make, and I'm going to pass it over to you for this one, about the future of Fairgame and the podcast.
Yeah, so we've done 5, and I've certainly enjoyed chatting with you guys. I mean, I would probably anyway chat with you guys. Now we're just sharing it, but it's been fun. And we're going to keep this thing rolling. That's what I think we should do, right?
Let's fucking do it. Let's keep this thing rolling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, super exciting news. So, you know, for all you listeners out there, I think we're probably going to take a week or two off to kind of let Adam recover from the Masters, let myself recover from whatever it is I do all day. And then we'll be back, with a weekly podcast about golf and kind of all that goes into it. So we just want to thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. I've really enjoyed this, guys, too. And I'll catch up with you in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
All right. We'll see you.